Last year, Darius Garland was recovering from a broken jaw, but this year, he looks comfortable and is slicing defenses up on a nightly basis. His nearly 20 points per game come in different ways, but if we highlight his 62% conversion rate on 4 attempts on the drive, this is where we can see the gas that starts his game. As he pushes up the floor here, you can see that Jackson is shading Garland to go towards the left, as this is where he has the help from Brook Lopez. Little does he know, Darius has this quick shiftiness that allows him to change directions in the blink of an eye, so now instead of going to the left, he's able to push towards the middle of the floor, and as you can see again, the defender tries to get out and cut Garland off, but this doesn't work in his favor as DG gets downhill with ease. And now I want everyone to look at the options. You have a kick out to the wing if you choose, you also have Allen on the backside for a lob, and then you have what we see here, and that's an easy float over the top. Having the ability to shift your defender whenever you choose is a huge advantage, as it lets you get guys off your path before attacking. So now as Jose is playing a game of tag with Garland, this makes other defenders key in to help tag up, but this is where bad things can happen. When you have a guard who can see everything on the floor, any opening will be exploited, and voila! It's a nice dime to Mobley on the backside. When you command so much attention and force the defense to knee-jerk react due to your quickness, it'll make them go blind to any movements on the floor, so when guys move into space, they'll be set up perfect for the two-hander. Kicking off the season with 7 assists per game is solid to say the least, and when you see the way he sets these up while having a 2.77 assist to turnover ratio, it's pretty spectacular. At times he'll show off that street ball playstyle with this smooth nasty fake throwout, to then dish out this smooth underhand dime to Mobley on the break. And then other times, he'll make the entire defense key in on him when he's breaking to the basket, and with no wasted motion, Garland whips it across the court to the opposite wing with the left hand for a Dean Wade 3. His setups are rarely premeditated, as Garland chooses more to react quickly off what the defense gives him, which ultimately makes him a more fluid player. Take this play for an example. You can easily see that D'Lo is forcing Garland away from the screen by playing up high like this, and for most players, this might work as they don't want to get funneled right into AD, but with the speed of Garland, he understands that he can beat D'Lo off the dribble with ease, which will force AD to commit to stopping the drive, and at this point, he can use that floater to delete the contest completely, or he can go ahead and blend it right into a lob. You see how that works in his favor? His quickness is just something the defense can't contain. So once he has them reacting the way he wants, well, Garland can choose if he wants to take it right at Lopez for a tough finish, or he can go ahead and dump it off at the last second for an easy Mobley flush. If Garland wasn't able to adjust to what the defense does so quickly, a lot of these plays wouldn't even happen, because you must be able to break down the defense in many different ways while having an option to go to no matter what they throw at you. I want you all to watch this play carefully. This right here is why speed and navigation are truly a defense killer. When Garland comes off this first high screen, his speed alone is just too much for his initial man to recover, so Tobias Harris is going to have to switch over to stop the drive, and now this makes Jalen slide over to take away Allen on the roll. By angling his drop back towards the middle, this pulls the attention of 3 Detroit defenders, and what do we have on the backside? Well, I call this an easy bucket. Just like I stated earlier, it's extremely key to have a guard who can put the pressure on the defense like this, as it opens up the playmaking skills to the fullest. But let's not forget that Garland is putting up nearly 20 points a night on 66% true shooting, with splits of 52% from the field and 46% from deep. With Garland sharing the floor with Donovan Mitchell, he has one of the best aspects in a player that shares the floor with another star, and that is flexibility. And when I say that, I don't mean how fluid or how stretchy his body parts move necessarily, but what I do mean is that he can score the ball without needing to create for himself all the time. Off the catch so far this season, Garland is shooting 48% on 3 attempts per game, so it's best that you don't leave a gap this large for you to have to recover, or else it's straight cash. When you have 2 guards who can score the ball in various ways, you'll have one who commands a lot of attention while evading a tight situation, but then you'll have the other one who can realize what's going on, and it may seem small, but this movement down to the corner is what makes his pass so much easier, and now Garland can go ahead and put 3 points on the board. Moving off ball like this gives the Cavs so much versatility on the floor, as Darius can use that same speed we talked about to shoot out the cannon when running off this screen, and by the time the defense can even recognize what's going on, Garland is already putting 3 points in the air. So truly, defenders will need to stay tight on Garland if they want to limit his 3-point success, but notice right there I said limit instead of stopping it completely. With DG being able to move so jittery and quick, it'll be times when he's receiving the ball where he can catch, plant, and change directions in a flash, which completely catches Bridges off guard and no one is there to contest. This change of direction can happen even if he has the ball initially, as like a play we talked about earlier, defenders will think they're shutting off the water by taking away the screen use by getting up high, but when that abrupt cross into a step back is served, they'll soon know that they made a mistake. That herky-jerky playstyle gives him an unpredictable nature that keeps defenders on their toes at all times, opening up these looks for him to knock down these rainbow threes over LeBron James. And if you start playing the drive too hard off the screen, well, here's a snatchback to go ahead and teach you a lesson. Now earlier we highlighted Garland's driving game to then float into his ability to pass off the defense shifting, but right now it's time to analyze what makes him such a tough cover when gunning to the basket. For starters, you have to worry about your first line of defense staying in front of Garland, but hey, we all know how that usually ends up. So next up you have your help defender who you depend on to slow him down, but with the craftiness, he'll send him out the way with a ball fake. So now you have your last line of defense, and that's the big rotating over. Most people would think small guard, big athletic defender equals missed shot, but when you're dealing with a finisher like Garland, this is pretty far from the truth. To the naked eye, this may not look like anything special, but when you slow it down and look at where Anthony Black is compared to Garland, you can see that the crossover shifted Black to the hip of Darius. So now with the 6'8" Anthony Black hovering over him on the side, Garland gets into his body to stop him from being able to jump and contest, and then uses that inside hand to sneak this right in. The way Garland ties in his quickness to move defenders is such a thing of beauty, as it doesn't take a whole lot to see a huge movement. And then he's very adept at using his size the correct way by going very tight around this screen. So now his defender is stuck behind, Garland makes sure to initiate the contact first while extending out, and this one is smooth off the glass. As you start to watch him more, you'll see Garland shift paces to make the speed more effective, and instead of clashing inside with the bigs, he can pull out that floater to dismantle them. When coming up the floor here versus the Knicks, you'll see that Garland is more at a calm pace, but then he jets out the crossover downhill. Now at this moment, there's one thing Garland is looking at, and that's what is the big going to do. With Allen coming downhill, this pass is going to be available if the big sticks with stopping Garland, but if he chooses to go back to Allen instead, well now Garland will have a nice little floater. So DG decides to slow it down and look at Allen, which makes the big drop back, and bada bing, it's money team. Little things like that may not excite people, but it's what makes the difference between a good point guard and a great one. If Darius was to come off this screen right here, he would be running into a crowded area, so the quick adjustment would be to cross back the other way to attack in the open space. But boom, what happens when you're dealing with a high leaper right in front waiting for you? Well, here's where you use your body or off arm to get into your initial defender space and bounce right into a floater over the top. I told you all earlier that navigation and speed was very important to defeat the defense, but you have to make sure you use it in the right way. If you just recklessly go down the floor gunning towards the rim, good things probably won't happen. But if you understand when to use the speed in certain situations, then that's when you'll be successful. Like right here when Garland catches, he doesn't immediately speed to the basket, as he instead feeds the up fake to take care of Jalen Suggs. He then uses the speed to get downhill, and instead of going all the way to the rim making it a tougher finish, he slows down before meeting the help defense and utilizes that special weapon. Darius Garland has truly came out this season showcasing his improved skill compared to last year, and with this Cavs team coming out the gates like this, it's safe to say that this will be a promising season. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to drop a like, subscribe, and turn on post notifications so you're first to know when I upload. I thank you all for your support, and I'll see you in the next video.